in a doctor's office. It wasn't me. I was taking somebody, and was able to watch the baseball game and to listen to Sam Michael and Ryan Walsh on the call. They will be on Purdue Northwest baseball and softball games on Facebook Live all weekend long on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I'm going to give them a little break today, and I'm going to do the 3:30 game, and then Jimmy Mulaney's going to do the 5:30 women's softball game. All right, there you go. What happened in Illinois on the primary yesterday? Pritzker wins big. Went over here to the local tire shop yesterday to get some new tires. And I swear that they were actually less now than they were about 3 years ago, last time I got new tires. And is that possible? Is there that much price competition? It at least wasn't more. I mean, I got a full set of tires, the top-of-the-line tires, for my wife's SUV for $700. And I want to say I paid like $8.25 last time, but it might have been Cooper. The last time it was Cooper tires, and this time I bought Goodyears. And from what I read on the internet, they're about the same. So I don't. Well, anyways, I didn't complain. Let's see. Pritzker wins. Billionaire J.B. Pritzker claimed victory Tuesday night in the race for the Illinois Democratic governor nomination, setting a self-funding record as he built a campaign operation his underfunded rivals could not overcome. I'm J.B. Pritzker, and I'm going to beat Bruce Rauner, said the candidate. Took the stage in a hotel ballroom to the song Go Big or Go Home by the group American Authors. And together, we're going to put Springfield back on the side of working families. On the other side, Republican Governor Bruce Rauner held a small lead over State Rep Gene Ives on Tuesday as he tries to fend off a primary challenge. Well, this is written old in the Tribune. Rauner winds up winning this. Significant, it would be let's see, with 60% of precincts reporting, Rauner with 53% and 48% for Ives. And Rauner and he's like hundreds of millions he has. And Pritzker is a billionaire. So they're saying this may be the most expensive governor's race in history, as I believe it was a California race at about $280 million, maybe 2012. Governor Moonbeam was in on it, and they're thinking that this one should go over $300 million. I don't know about you guys, but anyways, back to the tire place. I was waiting for my tires and watching Chicago television, and 7 political ads ran in a row. And you would think that that is a bonanza for the media, and it is to some extent, except you got to realize that there's 2 things that are at play here. And one is that you have to sell to these billionaires at what's called your lowest unit price. So in other words, if you're out selling an ad for $300 for a 30-second ad, or maybe they're probably selling them for like $300 on a morning show in Chicago TV, right? And sometimes they sell more for placements and sponsorships, and for other, sometimes it's more. And they can get, up to double more a lot of times. But they have to sell it to these guys at $300. So they're selling at sometimes it's almost a discounted rate, because you have to, whatever, that's how it works. And then the second part is, as soon as this election's over, they're gone. So you have ongoing sponsors that get pushed aside a little bit. So if they played 7 ads in a row yesterday morning during the election, the primary election, then that's 7 spots you can't give to your normal advertisers. So, I've always found it to be kind of it's about a wash when you're doing we're going to have a bunch of political ads, and the politicians come in and they buy a lot of them, and we appreciate that because it gives you guys an idea of who's running. And to some extent, that does take a little pressure off of us. It's like, all right, these guys bought all this, they're running, they're getting their message out. Oh, this this group bought this party brought that. And to some extent, the biggest advantage is that you get to see who's running, and you get to see them or listen to them, or see them now. I guess this will be the first election, really, where we'll have Facebook Live, Twitter, and YouTube as a factor. I wonder how that's going to work. I guess I got to think about that. And you get an idea of who they are, but it's not the bonanza you think of. And it takes a lot of time because you got to fill out all these forms. But I do want to talk a little bit about the markets. They held their own yesterday, but Facebook took another beating yesterday. And where is that article about Facebook? I'll do that in just a second. As you well know, we're doing a lot of Facebook here, and I've been telling you guys for a long time that it's dangerous that there's no rules on Facebook. And I'm okay with that. I don't want it to be overregulated like radio and television are. But at some point, we have to basically rip down regulation of radio and television and maybe have a little bit of oversight of Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. And all of a sudden, the FTC came out and said, hey, you know what? I think we're going to investigate whether we need to do this, the Federal Trade Commission. So that pushed Facebook, Twitter, and Snap down even more yesterday. And this is just kind of, I feel like I've been writing in my blog about this, and I've been boring the hell out of you guys about this. But finally, somebody's doing something about it. And that is not a negative thing for our economy, because if the Russians indeed did influence our election by going on Facebook, if Cambridge Analytica indeed did steal the personal information of 50 million Americans, including many here in Northwest Indiana, maybe even you. Speaking of getting my tires done yesterday, I was waiting and watching Megyn Kelly, and she had on two cyber experts, and they took the names of the people who'd signed up for tickets, and they said, hey, you know what? You were hacked by Cambridge Analytica. Oh, you have been hacked. Oh, you have been hacked. They just ran their names, and they figured out, and they said, oh, we have all your passwords too. And they got them all legally. So, I mean, what does that mean? I got a feeling, and I don't know if you guys are noticing this. I have a feeling that not just the stock is getting hit. I have a feeling Facebook would never release these numbers, but I got a feeling over the last few days, less people are going to Facebook. And I think we can feel it a little bit on our views on, part of it is that we're spreading our views out now to Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and we have more total, but we're not necessarily rising in Facebook. But anyways, Facebook went down and the rest of the market went up yesterday. Hey, I'll be right back. AM 1230 WJOB. Staying inside today. Iron Workers Local 395 said it was okay. I'm going to be out, and I will give them plenty of kudos, as I will be at the Purdue Northwest softball game today at 3:30. I'll be on the call. And there's no heat. There's no even any shelter. Hey, thanks for peeping anyways, even though I'm not out there. I'll be right back.
Ogren Insurance has been serving the area since 1947 and provides insurance for life, home, auto, business, and more. If you're looking for one-on-one service, the best rates, knowledge, and experience, Ogren Insurance is your agency. Our number one goal is to provide you with the coverage you need at the most competitive price. To learn about the insurance solutions and services we offer in Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan, call 219-933-0076 or see our website, ogreninsurance.com. Ogren Insurance, 6929 Holman Avenue in Hammond. Accidents happen. Be protected with Ogren Insurance.
Not only does Catering by Steve's cater for all occasions, Steve's in Hegewisch has expanded their all-you-can-eat Lenten fish fry on Fridays from 11:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. during Lent. Don't forget trivia every Friday as well. Stop in for some delicious Lenten specials and sample our large selection of craft beers. We also have banquet room for your special occasion. Bring your family to enjoy our Easter Sunday brunch on Sunday, April 1st. Call 773-646-1071 to make your reservation. See all we have to offer at cateringbysteve.com, serving the Calumet region since 1958.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Jim Deedlow, host of JED of the Region, sitting inside today. I'll be outside a little bit later, and I want to take a look at traffic with you. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop 4, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Borman. Hey, you know what? It's a pretty light travel day, and traffic is brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda, proudly serving Northwest Indiana with superior customer service. What about on the weather? 40 is your high today. It's not that right now. It's in the upper 20s. So the first day of spring was yesterday. The second day of spring isn't any warmer. And going forward, you're not going to, I mean, we're basically in the 20s overnight for the next 5 days. High of 40 today. Chilly, clouds breaking, maybe a little bit of sunshine later. And that'll be nice. That'll be a nice afternoon out at Purdue Northwest Dowling Field. You know, I'm not even going to give you the invite to come out and watch them play today. I don't want people coming out to watch Purdue Northwest Pride play when it's, 34 degrees out and windy, and then say, I'm not going there anymore because it's so cold. So I'll bring you the game today. You can watch it on your phone. They've got a pretty good team. Ryan, what's their record? Can you pull that up? The women's. The men's baseball is 7-4. So whereas we went and did all of the basketball home games, and it was tough because the women lost, I think, every time I was there, and I think they might have won two or three games or 4 games throughout the year, and the men won 1 or maybe. Women are 10-7 in women's softball, so they're very competitive. So it's a lot more competitive with the baseball and the softball than it was during the basketball season. We knew it was going to be tough during basketball. We didn't know it was going to be that tough. But we sat through a lot of, 20, 30, 40-point blowouts for Purdue Northwest. Pretty much every time baseball and softball take the field, they're in contention to win that game. And that's a whole different story. So if you want to see the women's softball game today, that'll go off at 3:30 on Facebook Live only. And so a high of 40 today. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and chilly and a high of 46. And then Friday, is it a baseball or softball game? Softball on Friday, both of them? Yeah, no, wait. Friday is a baseball game, and also on Friday, I'll be at Buffalo Wild Wings hosting the Purdue Northwest Coaches Show. Nikki Stansel, the women's coach, softball coach, and then Dave Griffin, the baseball coach, will be out there at BW or Buffalo Wild Wings at 5 to 6. We'll be out there. Yeah, they both play Saturday, and, you'll be able to see it. Just like our Facebook page, and you'll get notified when we go live. And, I have been saying, all right, so we did the weather, and that is brought to you by our good friends at Ironworkers Local 395. They build stuff, and they pretty much sponsor whenever I go outside. I'm pretty sure a group of ironworkers, Rich Gamblin and Ronnie Ware and the rest of them, they're just getting back at me because I make so much fun of Gamblin for going to Hammond Tech that he's like, yeah, we'll sponsor that as long as Deedlow goes outside when it's cold every time. And I'm like, all right, so I'll be out there today, and since I'll be outside, it'll be courtesy of Ironworkers Local 395. But going forward on traffic, 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop 4, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65 are all moving along pretty well. And I can tell you this, I have a number of times on my blog, and you can read my blog at jimdeedlow.com. I'm a little bit behind because I was on vacation. I wrote one Sunday night, and I'll write one today. But I'm about every day or every other day just telling you what it's like in the radio world. And I have a number of times used the word Russian, and I'm saying the word Russian now. So on our Facebook page in the last 24 hours, we have had 9 Russian names try to make friends with us. And it's, you know what? We're all controlled. Wherever you're going, you're on camera. Whenever you go online, they know everything you're doing. So remember that. All right, I got a couple of things that I want to talk about here locally. And one of them involves Facebook, believe it or not. A Democratic candidate for sheriff is withdrawing her complaint against Oscar Martinez since he has removed re-elect from his campaign literature. And it says Betty Dominguez, one of 8 Democrats running for sheriff in the May 8th primary, said early Tuesday she is now satisfied Martinez has corrected his campaign literature and is no longer, implying he had previously been elected sheriff by the voting public. So, remember I told you guys on Monday when we were looking at the story of Joe Hero and Robert Pastore going after Steve Kill with a venom known only by Democrats in Lake County up until that point, really. You get this here. We're going to see some more nastiness. I don't know if it was a spurious complaint, but it was a complaint that, it was kind of a nuisance complaint. Maybe to let Oscar Martinez and the Lake County know that Betty Dominguez is there and is for real. And she's going to come after Oscar Martinez with guns a-blazing. And here's part of it. I made this story. Betty Dominguez is also withdrawing her other complaint that Martinez improperly promoted his election with taxpayer money. She alleged he did so through the Times on March 4th, and also on WJOB here that the sheriff's department, blah, blah, blah. Martinez responded earlier he never intended his campaign logo to appear on a video of a WJOB radio interview between me, Jim Delo, and the sheriff's chief of staff, Emiliano Perez, and the sheriff's deputy police, Ed Jenkins. Delo said the graphics appearance was an error on the station's part. And it was, but I did some research, and it's kind of in a gray area because regulation hasn't caught up with it. We did everything legal on the air of radio that we were supposed to do, but one of our guys put the wrong graphic up on Facebook when we did the sheriff's show, and I'll show you how small it was. It said Oscar Martinez, and then it said sheriff underneath it, and about really, really tiny letters, it said 4. And the only thing that I can see that is close to that is when you look at a Dominguez for Sheriff billboard, and you see Dominguez for Sheriff, and then way in the corner it says Betty. And I don't know why that is, other than I at the same time I found out about this complaint and all this shenanigans, I saw that it's kind of like Dominguez for Sheriff, and then in the corner it says Betty. And so I don't know it's just one of those things. But I did some research, and I don't know if it was a violation or not. Because, as we know now, Facebook is not regulated like radio and television are, and I've been saying this for years. Of course, yesterday was the very first time that the Federal Trade Commission came up and they said, hey, you know what, we're going to investigate Facebook and see why they're not regulated. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm not, I don't want too much regulation on these guys, but because we're moving our business into video here, as you guys well know. But in the end, I said it was dangerous. It's dangerous. I'm overregulated. It's shackles here. If I started to say she, I have to. I got to go right now and take a she. Someone's gonna. There's it's like a clown boxer. Like one of those like on Laugh-In when they used to have that boxing glove that would just come out and punch the person in the face when they said something stupid. That's what's going to happen to me, and then I'm going to have to write a check. And you can do whatever you want on Facebook. You could take your clothes off and take a picture and just put it right there on Facebook, but it's a whole different story. Anyways, Betty Dominguez has withdrawn her election campaign. Now, what happened with Anthony Higgs yesterday? All right. Yesterday, the Board of Elections, and I believe Ken Davidson kind of broke this yesterday on Harlow's show yesterday afternoon. And according to the Times, Bill Dolan writes this. He says, Lake election officials are asking the prosecutor's office to investigate a complaint that Hammond City Councilman Anthony Higgs violated state election laws. Now, Kyron Sims of Hammond, a Lake County government janitor, doesn't he mean maintenance engineer? But anyways, janitor told the county elections board Tuesday that Higgs intimidated him last month into conducting political activity on county time, and that Higgs now is threatening to fire him in retaliation for coming forward. What do you guys think about this? 219-845-1100, 219-845-1100. You can also text me, although I haven't looked at the text line. I'll read the rest of it right after we talk about a very Hammond tech-laden union.
Ironworkers Local 395, through their contractor employers, the Northwest Indiana Contractors Association, are the workers you see building Northwest Indiana. They are the craftsmen building your schools, hospitals, malls, steel mills, and manufacturing plants. They support local charities, including Tradewinds and Chasing Dreams, and they coach your kids after work and on the weekend. They live, work, and contribute to all of our local communities' economic growth. To find out more about these organizations, visit ironworkers395.com or nwicontractors.org.
You know, I enjoy watching basketball at home, but I think we should go over to Johnny's Tap in Munster for drinks and fun.
Yeah, I like going to Johnny's Tap.
Speaking of fun, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. and Mrs. Fun.
Mr. Who and Mrs. Who?
Mr. and Mrs. Fun, but they're at Johnny's Tap.
Okay, I'll see you there at the corner of Broadmoor and Calumet Avenue.
Yeah, I like going to Johnny's Tap.
Johnny's Tap. New ownership, now smoke-free, and still the home of Mr. and Mrs. Fun.
A real neighborhood type of place.
Hey, what's going on? It is 6:13. What time is it? Time to go to Albert's. In terms of what's happening and traffic, 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Borman I-65. Hey, those are all moving along pretty well. What do you have in terms of weather? High at 50, chilly with clouds breaking. And then tomorrow, high at 46, mostly sunny and chilly. And then Friday, high at 44, periods of sun. And then by Saturday, high of 39, cloudy, a bit of snow and cold. We are scheduled to do a whole bunch of games from Dowling Park on Saturday. And let's see if those go off. Cold doesn't really bother college softball and baseball. It's precipitation during the games and to some extent wind. So I'm planning on announcing the games today at Dowling Park, the 3:30 game of women's softball from Dowling Park. Who do they play? We don't know. And we'll have a 5:30 game also. But I'm going to Jack Forite's little birthday party. Saginaw Valley State, so it's a conference game. Yes, that's conference. That is in the GLIAC conference. So if you're a really big softball person and you don't mind sitting out in the cold, this will be pretty good stuff. Saginaw Valley State has pretty good athletics all the way around. And they'll be coming in here to Dowling Park. Also, don't forget, Friday, 5 to 6, I will be at Buffalo Wild Wings with the Purdue coaches on a Purdue Coaches show. And if you just want to stop by, 15% of your bill can go back to PNW Athletics. So come out, have a couple, and eat some taco or some Buffalo Wild Wings. I think they make a chicken taco, which is actually pretty good. All right, there you go. Weather is brought to you by our good friends at Labor's Local 41. And traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda, as that has really nothing going on with it. All right, so Councilman Higgs here in Hammond, evidently the elections board here in Lake County has referred a matter to the prosecutor's office. The allegations are more serious than any penalty they can impose, said the elections board. Lake County prosecutor Bernie Carter couldn't be reached Tuesday afternoon for comment. Higgs wasn't present at the election board meeting Tuesday and didn't return calls to his office seeking comment. The allegations center on Higgs' role as a Hammond councilman, a Hammond Democratic precinct committeeman, and a maintenance supervisor at the county courthouse in Hammond. That's what his main job has been. I don't know if he's still there. Sims said he has been a janitor at the Hammond courthouse, and Higgs is his supervisor. Sims said he is a notary public who is someone authorized to authenticate documents candidates file to run this spring for public and political party offices. Sims said Higgs took him away from his county work for several hours in February to notarize official forms for several people not on the ballot as running for members of the county's Democratic precinct organization. Sims wrote to the election board, these people weren't present at the time all the papers were notarized, while myself and Anthony were on the clock for the Lake County government. That's a pretty deep allegation. Because if you guys remember, who was the mayor of East Chicago who had some people do some work? What was the guy's name? He died. I knew him. Played in card games with him. Come on, one of you guys that is listening, text me to my phone or to 219-845-1100. You know, the one guy that was, he had to testify at the trial, just the nicest guy, man. And it was like Stugash or something like that. And he had to testify in that trial. What was the mayor's name? Pabé, George Pabé. And the story was that he had some guys, some craftsmen come from the city of East Chicago and work on his house out in Miller. And that was it. I mean, that's the end of the crime. Lost his job. I went to prison, all that stuff. I mean, that was it. That was all it was. I mean, I went to that trial. I've covered too many Lake County politicians' trials. But and I'll tell you about the one coming up for James Snyder this summer. The one with James Snyder is he's a Portage mayor, right? And he is up for some sort of charges. I don't even know what they are, to be honest with you. But his lawyers are saying that the Fed's lawyers shouldn't be allowed to prosecute the case. That's Bulldog Benson and Jill Coaster. And is it Coaster or Coster? I've heard it both ways. I would like a pronunciation on that, if someone could give that to me. And Jill and Bulldog are evidently on this case. And if Bulldog's on it, I'll probably do it. And I've told you this before. Put it this way, there's a reason they don't want Bulldog on this. They're saying that that the prosecutor's office may have taken some emails illegally from James Snyder. It's kind of a complicated thing. It involves Tom Kirsch, the new head out there, but I won't even go into it. But it boils down to they don't want Bulldog in on this, and rightfully so, because if there's any deterrent factor for Lake County politicians that are thinking of doing anything, it's like being on the radio. You know, the interns and the younger people, or even the people that have been doing radio for a long time, they go, hey, man, you know, can I say this or should I say this? And I'm like, well, most of the time, if you have to think about whether you should say it or not, just don't say it. You know what I mean? Let the Times cover it or whatever. I don't care. Just if you have to think about it, we are so regulated that people can pull up little rules out of, you know, arcane regulation and use them against you, that you really have to be careful. And in terms of the, anyways, to get back on that, the number one deterrent for Lake County politicians is this. First of all, if you're thinking, well, maybe should I do this or should I not do it? There's only one thing you got to think about in the back of your mind. You've really got two guys that you don't want on your tail. One is a little bit more, he's kind of quieter, and he grew up right behind the station here and is the pride of Hammond Gavitt, and that's Gary Bell, and he's like the silent assassin in terms of political corruption. And then there's Bulldog Benson, and Bulldog's quite a bit more on the front line, and he's very, I don't want to say flamboyant because that has the wrong connotation. That's not it. He's very grandiose and aggressive in the courtroom. Sometimes I'm like, you know, thinking he's gone way overboard, but you know, you got to take the work as a whole, not as just one gesture. If there is any deterrent for Lake County elected officials, it's Bulldog Benson, and they're trying to get him out of that. They're trying to get him out of Snyder's trial. And if Bulldog's going to do it, there's only so many times you can see somebody at the top of their game. And I wrote this in my blog. I'm not sucking up to the feds because I sit and I sting them sometimes here on the air. And Dave Kapp, who is now retired, and he and I have talked about it. And, you know, and we've actually become friends. You know, and he's like, I'm like, well, Dave, you know, how does this I mean, I was kind of critical of you a lot of times. And he's like, well, you're fair. You just said what you felt. So, I'll say negative stuff about him. And I'll tell you one of the things that bothers me a little bit about all of these indictments and how deep these guys are going sometimes. Because Bulldog Benson is the deterrent. Don't take that. If you're an elected official and you're thinking of shading something here, man, can I do this? Can I not? Get a ruling, because you don't want that in his hands in a courtroom or in Gary Bell's hands behind the scenes. Either one of those guys. I mean, you don't realize the competence with which they work. And I've written this, that you don't get to see people at the top of their games. I saw him just take he was like directing an orchestra during the Buncich trial. And it was too easy. It was shooting fish in a barrel for him, because he was on top. He's on top of his game. He had a pretty good case, and you get the idea. But the same force that is a deterrent for current elected officials, I wonder if that same force is a deterrent for people to run for office in Lake County. And will we eventually, in other words, if one of the eventual outcomes of the feds putting people in jail that are in elected and appointed positions all the time is to basically get better government around here, then does it kind of have almost, after a while, if you go too far, does it kind of have a negative effect? There's certain economic and financial rules that if you have too much of a good thing, you start to cannibalize yourself. Like if you're Kraft and you have macaroni and cheese, that's your number one sale forever, and then you offer another type of macaroni and cheese, you know that it's going to cannibalize some of your main sales. Is it enough to go over? I mean, is it enough that you cannibalize here and you make more over there? Well, you got to figure that out. But with the feds, is like, if we go too far, does that keep people who are on the fence, like good people that might want to get in to run our local government, from running? And does it keep competition down in the races? In other words, you want competition. You want somebody to one day, a viable candidate, to take on Pete Visclosky. One day you want a viable candidate to take on Bernie Carter. I know that's heresy. I'm not saying they should leave. I would just like to see a fight. And we just hand it to them. And is it one of the many factors of why that doesn't happen is that that once you're basically going into office, you're under pretty deep scrutiny from the federal prosecutor's office, or at least you feel you are. So I don't know. That's another one. How did I get off on that? I don't know. Why don't we reset? We've got sports right after this with Andrew Garcia, and then at 6:30 we've got Kevin Brinegar. So let's do it in a hurry.
Flu season got you down? Just left the doctor's office and don't want to wait in line at the pharmacy? Hi, this is Ellen from Quick Scripts Pharmacy, inviting you to stop into any one of our 3 locations to experience our fast and friendly service to get you out the door and feeling better faster. We accept all insurances, have free local delivery, on-site one-on-one pharmacist consultations, and competitive pricing on generics and over-the-counter products. We are located in downtown Lansing, Illinois, downtown Griffith, Indiana, and our newest location off of 231 in Parrish Avenue in St. John, Indiana. Stop in today.
What gets you fired up when you think about college? Explore your roar at Purdue University Northwest. With 2 exciting campuses in Hammond and Westville, more than 70 areas of study, and NCAA Division II athletics, Purdue Northwest offers it all at an excellent value. Learn more at pnw.edu and apply today. That's pnw.edu. Join the pride at Purdue Northwest.
Baxter Printing, located at 3837 Ridge Road in Highland, is a family-owned and operated union print shop that has been serving Northwest Indiana for over 60 years. Our list of satisfied customers range from union locals and politicians to the everyday entrepreneur working hard to get their business off the ground. We help make that happen through our expert design and advice, creating things from every-door direct mailers to business cards and banners. Why don't you let the Tarosi family at Baxter Printing assist you in your next project? Call us today at 923-1999 and hear me say, Baxter Printing.
Save the date, April 19th, for the 2018 Fair Housing Act's 50th Anniversary Celebration and Awards Reception being held at the Center for Visual and Performing Arts in Munster from 3 to 8 p.m. At 3 p.m., there will be a continuing education from to 6:30 p.m., enjoy a cocktail reception, and 6 to 8 p.m. program and awards. Tickets in advance are $35 or $45 at the door. A portion will go to NWIRA programs. That's April 19th from 3 to 8 p.m. Hosted by Lake County Housing Task Force and Bankers Community Council of NWIRA.
What are you going to do when you grow up? Me, I'm going to talk on the radio, on AM radio, on FM radio, on streaming radio. Also on streaming video on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and you can watch us also. I notice that more and more of you are watching on Twitter versus Facebook, and I wonder if that is an adverse reaction to the Cambridge Analytical story. Little bitty differences in the numbers can tell a huge story. Hey, let's take a look at what the story is being told on traffic this morning. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toro, Borman I-65, US 30 Klein Avenue. This is about as light as I've seen it in a long time. And part of that is that there's no construction out yet. And it's a pretty clear morning. And maybe when's telecommuting day? I don't know. But for whatever it's worth, Napleton River Oaks Honda wants to tell you that, you can pretty much drive wherever you want. Maybe a little bit of tightness at the merge going in from the Bishop Ford until the Dan Ryan. And in terms of the weather, it is 28 degrees right now here at the Strachan Van Til Studios. Don't forget the new flyer came out today. And 49 cents a pound, you get a shank portion ham. And you can also get split chicken breast, drumsticks, or thighs for 88 cents a pound. That's pretty low. A high of 40 today, chilly with clouds breaking. Tomorrow, high of 45 on Friday also. And then Saturday, high of 39, cloudy, a bit of snow and cold. Andrew Garcia, let's hear it. All right. There you go. What do you got going on there?
All righty. So the Purdue Northwest Pride baseball team yesterday beat Lewis 4-1, and Jordan Petty picked up the win for the Pride with 2 2/3 innings pitched. He gave up 2 hits, didn't strike out any batters, but also walked no batters. Kevin McCune and Larry Chrysler had 2 hits each for the Pride. Chrysler scored a run for Purdue Northwest. They will start a 4-game series with Grand Valley State on Friday at 2 p.m.
And that's here, guys. If you want to go see some high-level college baseball, that'll be on Friday at 2 p.m. And then you can go over to the PNW Coaches Show at Buffalo Wild Wings. It's a good day of sports right there at Kennedy and the Borman. Grand Valley State is the big papa in the GLIAC Conference. Go ahead.
Oh, and then then softball. We have a softball doubleheader today versus Saginaw Valley State. The first game is at 3:30. The second is at 5:30. I believe both games will actually be on Facebook. And then in the NBA tonight, the Bulls will play at the United Center against the Denver Nuggets. They're 24-46 on the season. Long since been eliminated from playoff contention. So the only thing now to do is to continue to lose and get a high draft pick. The Pacers will play in New Orleans tonight at 7. Pacers are just a half game behind Cleveland for the 3 seed in the East. Then in the NHL last night, we had the Blackhawks losing 5-1 to the Colorado Avalanche, and they are officially mathematically eliminated from postseason contention. It's the first time since the 07-08 season that they will not be participating in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Brent Seabrook scored the lone Blackhawks goal last night, and they're going to play Thursday against the Vancouver Canucks.
Is that at home?
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing you can get some pretty cheap tickets for the Hawks on Thursday night against Vancouver. What do you think?
I'm hoping so. I'm going to be working probably, but it'd be nice to be able to actually finally see them at a cheap price now for the first time in 10 years.
Here's what's going to happen. There's going to be some tickets dropped off at the station by people too, and just bring them over. We'll get to use it. We'll use them. Ryan will use them. No, Ryan doesn't want to go. I don't have any real desire to go, but Andrew Garcia will go.
Never been.
He's at DePaul. He'll go.
Never been.
You never been?
Never been. Not in the 10 years that since Blackhawks have been playing playoff hockey. They've been a very difficult ticket to get.
You never been to a Blackhawks game? Hey, one of you guys that has tickets and nobody wants them now. Drop them off and we'll get them to Andrew Garcia and he'll be able to go to his first game. Hey, was that Kevin Brinegar calling? No, okay, go ahead.
Then in spring training action yesterday, today the Cubs will play the Texas Rangers. They were off yesterday. The White Sox beat Texas yesterday 10-0. Still no, I have not seen anything from Craig Deedlow since Sunday's game. I think probably going to see more of him when they have split squad games, I would imagine. So probably playing in the other, there's not a whole lot of information I would say, but the minor league games and all that the spring training teams are playing, but still in the White Sox camp. So
there you
looking
go.
Forward to that.
Yeah, Craig got into the spring training game and got a hit, and we were all very excited. And you were wondering what number he is for the White Sox. He's number 28.
And then the WJOB and Weekend Sports schedule, like you said, we're loaded this weekend. The Pride will play Grand Valley State on Friday at 2 p.m. And then later that night, it is Purdue and Texas Tech. That game will start at 8:57. It's going to be you'll be able to hear it here on WJOB. And then Saturday, starting at 9:30 a.m., all IHSAA boys state championship basketball games can be heard starting at 9:30 a.m. That's when the Class A championship begins.
So we're going to have the boys games on Sunday. Thanks a lot to all of our many sponsors.
Saturday.
On Saturday. And that'll be Community Healthcare will be the presenting sponsor of that. We very much appreciate that. At the same time, we're going to be doing a number of games from Dowling Park. That's if the weather holds out. We're looking at kind of a blustery early January day on Saturday. I don't know if we're going to get those games off. But we also have games scheduled for Sunday with baseball, right? So Sunday should be a much better day. And we may be backing up and playing a bunch of games on Sunday. So check Facebook for Purdue Northwest Sports. 2,000 views yesterday on the baseball game. I was a little surprised at that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe it was a curiosity factor. I can't expect that on all of it. I'm guessing less than 1,000 on it, but it shows that there are some people that want to watch. You know what? Maybe people are just starved for baseball right now.
Yeah, I can imagine. I know I am, and I know the fact that. I think I saw yesterday this was the first time we'd ever streamed a Purdue Northwest baseball game, so that was probably a big factor in it too. And, I think also because baseball is something you can kind of just put on the radio or on TV for background noise, and you can tune in and out of it and in and out of it, and you probably be able to get a recap of what you missed. And it's kind of like that. Like, it's just like you can have it on just for some background noise, but also watch and pay attention as you please.
You got it. He's Andrew Garcia. Andrew, you don't want to announce one of these games today because you got to do something tonight, right?
I do. At 11:30, I have to go. As soon as I get off here, I got to go home, throw my stuff in the dryer, and get ready for Teebles at 11:30.
So if you go to Teebles today and you see Andrew Garcia waiting on you, congratulate him for getting the national award for play-by-play broadcasting from the Intercollegiate Broadcasting System, and he will be leaving here. He got up early. He looks a little bit harried for being up so early, and then he'll go over and work at Teebles 11:30 to what?
Whenever they say go home.
Oh, really? It could be 3. It could be 8.
It could, probably somewhere around 8. I would say maybe a little earlier if I'm lucky, depending on how it is.
So, are you going to be back here again tomorrow morning?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, we're. Sam Michael does a show now from 1 to 3 in the afternoon, so he is not as available, and he also umpires and he coaches. So we're glad that Andrew's here to give to give some of these guys a break. Jimmy Mulaney's running crazy right now, working so many hours. So we're glad you're off for a week. We just wish it was a couple more weeks.
Yeah, I know. Don't worry. In due time, as soon as I have that diploma from DePaul, it'll be just here.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. Go out to Teebles and see Andrew Garcia for lunch or dinner. 219-845-1100. Let's see what we're going to talk about. What do you want to go forward on? I got a bunch of stuff here, but the main one that is capturing national news, of course, is that they have caught the bomber in Austin, Texas, and evidently he detonated a bomb in his car and killed himself. And that's good news. Last night it was all over the news. I'm like, man, they got to be covering. They got to be getting close to this guy. Hey, let's talk to Dave from Gary. Dave, how are you?
Good. I just heard that. That was quite frightening, considering I worked for a company that one of the bombs went off. So we're glad, tragic how it ended, but nevertheless, it's always good to catch the bad guy, right?
I got to believe, what they're saying, though, is that he may have mailed some stuff or sent or, used your company to send it. So we're not out of the woods yet on this, but it's good to know that they've caught the guy and that they're pretty sure that he blew himself up as they closed in with their SWAT team. Evidently, one of the cops got pushed back pretty hard. He's okay, I guess, and they actually shot at him. So they're pretty sure that he blew himself up as he was going to get captured.
So that, that's one of them cases. We've spoke about it before. If you don't have access to a gun, you're going to find something else. And in the case, thank goodness we haven't heard it lately, though. But Islamic extremists using trucks as weapons. So that's one thing we haven't heard in a while. But if you really want to do damage, if you want to hurt people, and if you want to spread terror, no matter if it's domestically or nationally, you're going to find a way to do it. But I like your earlier, you used the macaroni and cheese analogy. I actually like that analogy that you offer an alternative mac and cheese. And you know what? That's what you're doing. And maybe you want to offer a different mac and cheese because you want to hit a different demographic with a different kind of mac and cheese. So I think that's what you're doing. You got the radio waves, you got you got the computer machine, and you're utilizing everything that you can. You spent a lot of money to do it, but nevertheless, it's really working out for you just by the numbers you give every morning. Local guy made good, I guess, is what I'm going to cut to the chase to say.
I guess there's good and bad in all of that, in that there's certainly casualties along the way. Is radio kind of loses its prominence, and other modes take over because it's a different set of skills, personnel changes, and there's always casualties in that. But I'm excited. But you know what, Dave? I was just thinking about something. Let's pat both of ourselves on the back, and then let's say that we don't want any of that because they're both nasty predictions. You predicted a couple years ago, you wondered out loud how dangerous it was, trucks were, and then it was reasonably short period of time after that the guy took the truck and ran over the people in France. And it to me, it just kind of shows you that there are people in the center of the country that have an understanding of what's going on in the world, and it seems like people just don't listen to us at all. And conversely, or additionally, I've been kind of bitching about Facebook not being regulated in radio and television for a long time, and then all of a sudden the whole world's just waking up. Oh, they're going to have FTC is going to investigate why Facebook's not regulated, and there's no mention, of course, why radio and TV are overregulated. But finally,
they came first. They came first. That's why.
Yeah. Well, it's way over. There's so many antiquated things that are in there that just need to be stripped out. And once a year I go over and I talk to Visklosky, calls in all the media people, the broadcast media, and I go in and I talk to him, and I kind of say this, and I get a blank stare. Maybe this year when he calls us in, I'll get an actual audience, and he'll, maybe he or Donnelly will actually listen to me when I say just rip down the regulations. But the point is that when you come back to the terrorism that you're talking about, it can evolve into different ways. If we took away all guns in America, yes, we're going to have terrorists that are going to find ways to blow people up, because you can go buy fertilizer right now over here at Home Depot.
Or they're going to use box cutters. Okay? It's just what it is, You got to remember, 9 box cutters brought down 3 planes.
Hey,
4 planes.
Can I ask you about a local thing? I'm trying to get an understanding of the Anthony Higgs thing. This has been put to the prosecutor, and they're saying that Higgs was basically electioneering on county time. Evidently, he managed the building in downtown Hammond. He was the building manager or maintenance manager, and during that time, he was trying to get people to, run for precinct organization leadership positions, and they're saying that they may have, the elections board is saying we want to look at this because he may have been doing it on county time. What do you make of this?
Well, I mean, I wasn't there. I hear the same thing you do, and I heard about probably at the same time. What I think is going to come out of this, it's going to come down to he said, she said, because it was, and it's as far as I'm concerned, it's going in the right direction. You get the right people involved. I would prefer more state and federal and not local. I don't want Lake County involved other than the election board. But yeah, I mean, it's going the right way, and no different than a couple other instances, not necessarily with Councilman Higgs, but other things. And it comes down to this word against the other word, and you can't prove anything, and it goes away. It's just
speaking of going away. Betty Dominguez, you see, I try to tell people just enjoy the entertainment because it's going to get nasty.
Absolutely.
And this thing with Higgs, and there's a lot of people that hate Higgs, so I'm just kind of all right. I'm going to digest this.
There's a lot of people that like him though too.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that hate Higgs, so I'm going to be like, well, maybe is this a political ploy? And I always tell the younger reporters, hey man, don't get played. All right, just take a step back, because if someone's making an allegation, unless it's a strict law enforcement thing by the feds or the state police or whatever, just take it for what it's worth and take a deep breath, because there's got to be probably politics. There's got to be politics in this somewhere against Higgs or for Higgs or whatever. But in other political stuff, Betty Dominguez is now withdrawing her complaint against Oscar Martinez, and she's also withdrawing her complaint I guess it basically involves the Times and WJOB. What do you think about this one?
Imagine that. It had no legs to stand on, I mean, that's all I have to say. It really, it's the silly season. You called it. This is entertainment at its best. You have quite a stable of candidates for sheriff, and funny and weird and goofy things are going to happen. It is what it is, and believe me, over the next 30 days, the herd is going to get thinned out, and the top, the top 3 or 4 who should be there running for sheriff are going to float to the top. It's craziness.
Silly season. I'm going to use that from now on. All right, Dave, thanks for calling in. Hey, don't forget the political activity, I guess, of Joe Hero and Robert Pastore going after Steve Kill, the St. John Council or St. John town manager, as they are just going to great lengths to prove that they have that there's been victims on the stealing of campaign signs. And as far as I know, Joe Hero's run in the past as a Republican. So it's not all Democrats that are playing in the silly season. But just understand this. It's just going to get more fun. And we're going to continue to have shenanigans. And I look at this Higgs thing, and I know that Higgs is not liked by some very important people. And we'll take a look at it. Maybe the feds will get involved, and it'll be another Peb A situation. Or maybe it's just like really people kind of like the Betty Dominguez complaints where she, I'll tell you this. You could do what you want with, Betty Dominguez named some sort of, somehow we were named in it in the complaint, and so was the Times. And you have to realize it's like, you got to put forth your complaint, what you think is right and what is wrong. But I can tell you this. Every media person that I have ever met, if you scratch them, they will tell you they don't want to be involved in people's I can't say it because we're regulated. All right? They just don't want to be involved in it. And, hey, we'll sit here and we'll report on it. We'll make fun of it. We'll comment on it. But once you bring us into your then that's a different level. You know what I mean? So I just say that because I don't mind watching the circus. I just don't want to be brought into the circus. But I'll tell you what I do want to do once in a while. I do want to go over and see Vito's once in a while because you're going on vacation or something and you just need a little extra.
Man, are you taking Viagra or Cialis for ED? ED should not stand for expensive drugs. If you're taking Viagra, talk with your doctor about sildenafil. Now you could get the same active ingredient in Viagra in generic 20 milligram tablets for less than $2 each, saving over $30 per dose. Available at Vito's Pharmacy. Call us 219-228-7200 or visit us at vitospharmacy.com.
Vito's Pharmacy.
Would you go to a doctor that isn't board certified? No, of course not. Then why would you trust in a lawyer that isn't board certified? If you've been injured in an accident and it's not your fault, get someone that's a board certified civil trial specialist by the National Board of Trial Advocacy. Get someone with over 20 years experience who's a member of the Best Lawyers of America and Indiana Super Lawyers and has achieved the highest possible peer review rating of AV by Martindale-Hubbell. Get Gladish. Attorney David Gladish in Highland and his team will deal with the insurance company and its attorneys while you put your life back together. Experience, ratings, and board certification really do matter. Get Gladish. For a free consultation, call 219-838-1900, 838-1900, or visit dgladishlaw.com. That's the letter D, Gladish law.com.
Elmwood Casket Company in Hammond and Cherville offers over 100 American-made caskets, up to 60% less expensive than area funeral homes, along with a wide selection of burial vaults and cremation urns. Our company is licensed by the state of Indiana and offers interest-free pre-arrangement plans. Call Mike at 219-844-7009 or visit elmwoodcaskets.com for pricing. Remember, you do have options to prevent overpaying at the funeral home. Elmwood Casket Company.
Fill your garage with your dream car during the Honda Dream Garage Spring event going on now at Napleton's River Oaks Honda. They're Northwest Indiana's destination for new and certified pre-owned Hondas. Napleton's River Oaks Honda has a huge selection of brand new and certified pre-owned Civics, Accords, CRVs, and Pilots. Come find out why you always get our best deal at River Oaks Honda. As always, Indiana residents pay Indiana sales tax right off 8094 on Torrance Avenue or online at riveroakshonda.com.
Second to none since 1931. They're almost as old as WGG. Hey, any retired guys that got nothing to do, can you tell us the exact date that WJOB got going? Because we got to come up on our 100th anniversary, and we don't know if it was 1923 or 1924. We have conflicting information coming our way, and since 1931, Napleton. Typically, the many of the firms that are older like that, they have an involvement with WJOB. Eventually, we find each other when it's older firms that have been around for a long time. I went to a tire place yesterday that said they were been around since the 1930s or so. I'm like, why aren't they on? So I'm going to make sure anybody that's really older that's been around that gets the region, you guys should be doing something here. Hassey Construction is older than WJOB. I did not know that. 1920, I believe. And they're a big sponsor of the high school tournament and of Purdue, which you will be able to hear here on Friday night. You'll be able to hear the whole, or on Friday night, right, Ryan? Friday night at 8:57. It's a late one, right? Yeah, about 8:57, but we do like an hour pregame or an hour and a half they were doing. Hour and a half? Yeah, we've been doing an hour. I don't know about you. Alexa's like, where are you going? I go, I'm going to sit in bed. I'm going to go rehang my sweaters and I refold my sweaters in my bedroom so I could listen to the Purdue pregame. It's pretty good stuff. They're really putting some money and some time into the Purdue pregame, and Hassey Construction will be one of the many sponsors along with that. Brought to you by Community Healthcare, BP, and NIPSCO. All right, guys, 294 around the city looks good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop 4, Dan Ryan, Skyway, Toll Road, Borman, I-65. Hey, those are all moving along pretty well. And traffic brought to you by Napleton, as you just heard their spot. Weather, this one's brought to you by our good friends at CertifiedElectrician.com. High of 40 today. Right now it's 28 degrees here at the Strachan Van Til Studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest. It'll be a high of 40 today, 45, 45 the next 2 days. Then Saturday looks like a nasty day, high in the upper 30s with some snow. And let's talk a little bit about something that is going on Saturday for a very good cause, and that's some folks in Griffith on the local 599 phone line. That's Shannon Scheidel and Sarah Novak. How you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
All right. And is that Shannon or is that Sarah?
This is Shannon.
Hi, Shannon. Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Oh, great. Your voices sound exactly the same. Can I just go with like Shara? And just, who doesn't matter who answers the question. So what's going on Saturday? Tell us.
We also have our officers here, so we're going to have them kind of talk about it.
Okay, so what's the group? Is it Griffith students here? And what are you guys trying to make money for?
Yeah, we're the FCCLA officers. FCCLA is Family, Career, Community Leaders of America.
Okay, and you're having a benefit on Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Here's what we're going to do. A lot of people want to talk. I'm just going to talk to you right now, and then we'll bring some other people on. Is that okay? Hello.
Sounds great.
All right, so who am I talking to right now?
Sarah's back on the line.
Sarah.
I'm one of the officers.
All right. So Sarah, we're talking to Sarah. Sarah, FFCLA is a group, and you guys are based in Griffith. Is that right?
We are. We are out of Griffith High School, and it's a community volunteer group. We also are a national organization, but our chapter just works locally with the Griffith and the surrounding community.
Okay. And what are you guys doing on Saturday?
Saturday is our Dancing with the Panthers event. It is a community event that's from noon to 3. It's $5 per child to get in, and it's going to have carnival games, bounce house, face painting, just a lot of fun activities. And all of the proceeds are going to benefit the Nick Foundation.
And the Nick Foundation is what?
Northwest Indiana Cancer Kids.
And what do they do?
I'm going to let Taylor answer.
All right.
She's one of the officers.
Is Taylor a student or a parent?
I am a student, and I am the co-vice president along with Mary.
All right. And how old are you?
I'm 18.
You're 18. Where are you going to college?
Indiana University, Bloomington.
All right. Do you have somebody else that could talk? Because we hate Bloomington here at WJOB. Is that okay? No, I'm kidding. Don't get somebody else. All right. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. And I'm very excited that you're going there. It's just that we're a Purdue station. Is that okay?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, all right. I didn't mean anything. I shouldn't say negative stuff. What do you want to do at Bloomington?
I'm not sure. Something with kids, because I love kids. I love working with kids.
What do you mean? Like you want to be a teacher, or you want to be a psychologist, or you want to be a parent?
I was thinking like pediatric nurse.
Pediatric nurse?
Yeah.
So you're going to go down there and you're going to study biology, perhaps?
I'm not sure, so that's why I'm going as undecided first.
Okay, good. And you thought you were going to talk about your benefit, but we had to get those formalities out of the way. All right, so what is NIC? I know what it is, but I'm asking you to explain it to us, what NIC is and why you're raising money for this.
They're a group that is headed by Donna Kreiner. She came in and has spoke to our classes about everything that they do for local families here in Northwest Indiana with kids that have cancer. It could be as much as buying them a new bed, paying an electric bill, or redoing a room to benefit that child because that's where they're going to be staying for a long time, or anything along those lines. So we want to help them out because I know every day a kid is diagnosed with cancer, and it's very hard to find the funds unless you donate. So anyone who comes out can just give donations, and and that's what we really love. If anyone out there, the weather, you said earlier, the weather is supposed to be pretty bad on Saturday, so why not come in and spend your 3 hours inside and let the kids run around and enjoy, and maybe give us a few donations for everything.
So that's in the field house at Griffith High School?
Yeah.
So you come in, let's say you come in off of the west side, you go to the right, you don't go to the gymnasium. You're going to be in the bigger field house with the 4 basketball courts, that one you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I have, when my kids were little, we lived right there by the high school, and whenever they had something and they opened it up, I took them right over there because, in the middle of winter or when the weather is bad, it's always nice to let the kids run around. So it's $5 for each kid to come in and run around for 3 hours, basically.
Yeah.
And
adults are free.
Go ahead.
And adults are free, I'm sorry.
It's also what?
Adults are free.
So how much are adults?
$0.
Okay, they don't cost anything, huh? All right, so this is on Saturday from noon until 3, benefiting the Nick Foundation. Any kid could come out, pay $5, run around. There's going to be all sorts of games. What kind of games?
Carnival games, and there's a bouncy house.
Oh, there is a bouncy house.
Yeah.
And you got to take your shoes off before you go in on that, or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so no shoes, bouncy house. All right, well, we'll make sure that we put this out. And anything else you guys want to add about this?
We also have local sponsors who have given us lots of different things to raffle off, too. So we're going to be doing a silent auction throughout the 3 hours that we have everyone coming in. So we have great donations, and, yeah, it should be a great time.
All right, it should be a great time. And like we said, it's supposed to be nasty. It's supposed to be a high of 38 with some snow and some wind. So this is a good chance to get inside and let them run around. And it's a huge open field house, and I know it well. And the kids can get in there and just burn off some energy. All right, hey, thanks a lot. You guys are doing the right thing, raising money for a great cause.
Thank you.
Go Hoosiers. Talk to you. Thanks a lot. Talk to you. Bye. All right, 6:59 in the Calumet region. And after that very wholesome interview with folks from Griffith, we're going to talk about a place that is half wholesome on one side of it. And then on the other side, it's just a little bit dark and not as wholesome. But everybody has that side of them, too.
As the preacher once said, the best kept secret in Lake County, Spike's Lakeside Inn 2. Restaurant and bar, Cherville, Indiana. Serving seafood at its finest. Lenten specials, also a full sandwich and dinner menu. Homemade soups with full salad bar. For your adult dining in a comfortable atmosphere, come join us at Spike's Lakeside 2. Located at 21 East Joliet Street, Cherville, Indiana. Next to the police station, across from Town Hall. For reservations, call 322-4444. Serving Thursday through Sunday. Remember, 25% off your dining bill on Thursdays and Sundays. Follow us on Facebook. Hope to see you at Spike's Lakeside 2.
For generations, you've trusted Edgewater Systems to provide compassionate, high-quality care. As the science of behavioral health has evolved, it's revealed the important connection between physical and behavioral health. With this in mind, we're pleased to introduce Edgewater Health, which includes primary care, in addition to our long-standing mental health and addiction services. Whichever combination of services you need, Edgewater Health is here for you for your whole life. Learn more at edgewaterhealth.org.
Join Harvest Ridge Church in St. John on Good Friday, March 30th at 7 p.m. for a Tenebrae service. Tenebrae, which means darkness or shadow, is an ancient tradition in which Christians gather to recall the hours of darkness that occurred at the crucifixion of Jesus. Set in candlelight, the candles are gradually extinguished as the biblical story of the cross is retold through scripture and music. Join us at Harvest Ridge Church at 9495 Kyleman Street in St. John for this Good Friday Tenebrae service. Visit harvestridgechurch.com for more information.
From the Strack & Van Til Studios, your local Strack & Van Til has some great products on sale this week. Here's a few items you might want to add to your shopping list. Green and red seedless grapes, $1.49 a pound. O'Brien's Premium Flat Cut Corned Beef Brisket, $2.88 a pound. Green cabbage, 25 cents a pound. Strachan Van Til, proud to be Indiana made and dedicated to being Indiana's grocery store.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? AM 1230, WJLB 104.7 FM, the voice and face of the region. It's getting to be beautiful outside. Look out to the east. It's a gray sunrise. That's when you have low clouds, and they have slits between the clouds. And you have behind it the glow. So you don't have any purple or orange or light blue haze. You just have gray and kind of white, maybe a little bit of blue behind it. So it's a very colorless sunrise. And Andrew, you need to get this camera just a little bit better organized there. It's good enough. And so take a look out to the east right now and put your hand over your heart and your hand over your other heart and just feel the starkness of the gray sunrise. You want me to write a poem? All right, here we go. It's time to write a poem. Let's see. Gray sunrise seeps into your core. It tells you, I want more. I want color. I want pink. I want yellow. I want blue. I want you to share in my gray sunrise. Anyways, at 7:02 in the Calumet region, a high of 40, chilly with clouds breaking. Here at the Strachan Van Til Studios, it is 29 degrees, going up to there. And let's see, tonight it gets down to 25, 45 your high tomorrow, 45 on Friday. So really not too bad of days. Colder than the normal highs right now, but at least you see the sunshine. Sunshine on my shoulder makes me happy. Sunshine almost always makes me cry. Anyways, there you go. That's brought to you by Laborers Local 41, of which I am a proud alum. All of these poems are sponsored by Laborers Local 41. Do you think they would continue to sponsor if I go to, hey, Roach, how about this? Listen, Sparks, come here. Here's what I'm going to do. Every day I'm going to like come up with an instantaneous poem, and it's going to be brought to you by Laborers Local 41. How's that sound? Get out of here. You're done. Anyways, what do you have in terms of traffic? 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford up the gut of the Southland is a little bit tight now from 103rd up to 95th, but other than that, you're okay. I would not pay the money yet. Skyway and Toll Road are wide open. So is a Borman I-65 US 30 and Klein Avenue. Traffic brought to you by Napleton River Oaks Honda. Hey, pay Indiana sales tax at Napleton River Oaks Honda. Speaking of selling cars, did you guys see that Danny Mac is now on the score for 5 hours every afternoon? I was so glad to see that. I talk to Danny from time to time, and he has had some ups and downs. Highland guy, I think 78, 79 grad, maybe 79 grad at Highland. I'm an 80 grad at Munster. You would think that we had an immediate dislike for each other, but that's not the case. Well, maybe it kind of is initially, and then you got to work past it. It's like when that little young girl called in, oh, I'm going to IU, and she's all excited about it. I go, oh, can we talk to someone else? I didn't mean to do that. I'm like, that's so bad. I mean, I apologize for that. But same thing with a Munster and a Highland guy of like late 70s, early 80s. It's like, rah! Where'd you go? You went to Highland, graduated in 80. Rah! But anyways, Danny Mac is made a resurfacing. He was selling some cars over here at Webb Ford and doing a good job as far as I understood. But he got called back off the bench, and he is now in employ by, I think it's a Score, in 670, and he goes at 5-hour shift with a guy named Parkins. So it's Parkins and McNeil and Parkins. And, I listened to some of it yesterday, and it was just good to hear him. Highland guy, worked his butt off in broadcasting. I got to tell you, man, with the way things are going, there is so much opportunity in podcasting, and there's so much opportunity in streaming live video that we're taking advantage of, as you guys well know. The game yesterday. How about the Purdue game yesterday? 2,000 views on a college baseball game in March. I mean, but conversely, there are less and less jobs in pure radio or radio-based things, and I was kind of worried about Danny Mack, and they called him off the bench, and he's in for relief pitching, 1-6 now in Chicago. Anyways, 219-845-1100. Let's see what Vinny says about Danny Mack. Hey, Vin, what's up, buddy?
Hey, how are you? I'm a big Score listener, Jim. I listen to them every day. When they broke the news that he was going to come back, I was very excited. For his segment for 5 hours. It's gonna be good.
I'm just glad he landed, man, because it can get kind of lonely to be, as you get a little older and you're in radio, there's just less and less jobs, man. And I'm glad for a number of reasons. I love listening to him. And I'm like you. If I'm driving around in the middle of the day, I'll listen to some WJOB, but also want to hear some sports. And the Scores got, they were hurting, and he's going to bring some life back to that afternoon.
Yeah, you do. You had when Terry Boers was sick, and it was the Bernstein and Golf show, and they kept talking about like the same thing over and over, and then now with this new format, with Danny Mack's going to come in, it's going to bring a new life, to the Score.
Yeah, I agree, and you know what it is. Not only that is that after Boers was the best sports radio that I believe that ever was on in Chicago was McNeil and Boers when they were together. Do you agree?
Yeah, I totally agree.
That was the best. Boers has too many little sexual innuendo jokes, but he gets sick, and I just missed him. But his best days were with McNeil, and I just remember listening to that on the way home. I took a little radio with me on the South Shore, and I'd plug it in my ears like my grandpa with a transistor, just to hear those guys on the way home. Man, I mean, they had it. They gave me motivation to get back into radio while I was working at the Board of Trade. And I went and saw them a few times when they did their afternoon shows at live places.
Yeah, so did I. It was really nice, and then Ryan and I were just talking about your Chicago Blackhawks last night, eliminated, first time in 10 years that they did not make the playoffs.
Should we have a moment of silence for the Chicago Blackhawks?
I don't think so. I mean, it's just, we were talking about this a few weeks back. Their defense, so. Jim, is just, it's just bad. I mean, I don't know where, Stan Bowman was thinking. I can understand Jane Ruda. I understand you guys want offense, but where's going to be your defense?
A moment of silence, even though you don't want to do it because you're a Penguins fan. Yeah, I'm going to have to. I got to do a moment of silence for the Blackhawks. All right, after we hang up.
I agree. Okay, let's do a moment of silence
for the Blackhawks.
For the Blackhawks.
You know what? If we're going to be equal opportunity, Viddy, we also have to do a moment of silence for the Bulls too. You ready?
Yeah.
And I think they both deserve it because they both sucked this winter. All right, man. Thanks a lot, Vin. Good hearing from you. Talk to you.
Too. Hey, take care, Jim.
All right, there you go. Let's go to who was next? Jamie was next, right? Yeah, Jamie, you were next. How's that feel?
Hey, that feels good. Hey, Jim, good morning. It's nice to see Dan land on his feet, but I can't ever say that I feel sorry for him because the reason he's lost a lot of his jobs is he brought it on himself by not getting along with other employees. So it's hard to feel sorry for somebody that has a hard time getting along with people. You know what I mean?
You know what? There's no doubt, and McNeil will be the first. As a matter of fact, I was listening to him yesterday, and he was talking about somebody saying something bad on the air of some guy in another market in Tampa. He tweeted something, and McNeil goes, "Hey man, I'm the first one to admit I've been I've had 4 suspensions, or I've been kicked off or fired because of stuff I've said on the air. He goes, I'll be honest with you, I've kind of learned my lesson a little bit in that regard. But part of it is that in the end, McNeil is really kind of like the end of the bar guy, region guy. And he'll say anything to anyone. I have a feeling that finally, when he finally re-landed at the Score, he will temper that just a little bit.
Well, I hope so, because you just can't lay your hands on other employees. He's lucky he's got a job at all.
Yeah, to some extent, he has brought those things on. But when you make a mistake, does that mean you're done forever? I don't think so.
No, but it doesn't mean you're done forever, but I don't feel sorry for him like you do.
I don't feel sorry for him. I just wanted to see him do well. I mean, I've gotten to know him. You know what I mean? And I've talked to him about, and he's, and I, when we were doing the studios here, I called him. I said, well, what is it that you missed? When I was designing the studios, we talked about it. I said, he goes, hey, man, don't forget to do this. Don't forget to do that. And I'm like, wow, that was really, so I'll talk to him from time to time about stuff in the business. But I do know, remember we had that one guy, was it Matt Money Smith, come in? He's the main guy in Los Angeles radio. He grew up just a few blocks from here. And he said, man, it's a tough thing. He goes, when you turn 55, it's like the whole world turns its back on you. McNeil's 56. In radio, the whole world turns its back on you. And I was a little worried that it was going to turn its back on Dan McNeil. I'm glad it didn't. That's not feeling sorry for someone, Jamie. Why do you?
No, but you used the words "I feel sorry for him." I didn't say that. You did.
I don't know if I said that, but if I did, I don't mean that exactly. I want to see him do well. But you know what?
I do too. I think he's good.
Here's the thing.
I'm just saying he brought it on himself.
There are people that, and there's one that might be walking in here in a little bit, that don't like Dan McNeil at all. But isn't that the nature of the game? He puts his opinions out there, and he tries to get listeners, and you're going to piss people off sometimes.
Absolutely. That's what your job is as a DJ, I think, or a sports radio host. It's all about opinions.
All right, man. Thanks.
It's all about opinions, but when somebody has a different opinion on you and then you lay your hands on them, that's across the line.
There you go. All right, man. Thanks a lot. Talk to you. Well, there's a guy who knows his Chicago sports radio. Hey, let's talk to Bill. Bill's been waiting a while. Hey, Bill, you're it, man. What's going on?
Jed, how is the reigning edition of Boiler Pride doing this morning?
Explain.
Do I need to explain Boiler Pride to you? I mean, you know already that we play Notre Dame in football on September 21st of 2021. You know what I call it?
What?
Boiler Pride meets the Fighting Potatoes. Don't you love it?
I love it.
Potatoes?
I think you should write a song about it.
Geez, you're all over me. I just came up with, I think we ought to spread that Fighting Potatoes around now.
The Fighting Potatoes and versus the Boiler Pride.
Boiler Pride meets the Fighting Potatoes. I'll get the trademark on it. We'll make zillions.
How's that NIT feel, by the way? The NIT is where Notre Dame was playing.
That's like... what's the NIT? I mean,
leave it there.
Who makes that? Only the top 887 teams in the country?
All you got to do is, I think, win 3 games in November, and you're in the NIT. All right, hey, thanks a lot, Bill. Good talking.
You should not rejoice or take thanks in the difficulties of others. That's not a good thing to do. It's not very Catholic.
It is not very Catholic at all. And you know what? It's a season to be Catholic right now. Thanks a lot, Bill. Good talking to you. 219-845-1100. There's a story here, and I don't know what to do with it. And I don't know if this is going to gain legs. But we do have to talk at some point about the Anthony Higgs story. Anthony Higgs has now had an election board complaint sent to the Lake County Prosecutor's Office, and the election board is alleging that he was getting a guy by the name of Sims, what's his first name? Something Sims, a janitor, to do things on county time. Sims wrote to the election board, He says Higgs took him away from his county work for several hours to notarize official forms for several people not on the ballot as running for members of the county's Democratic Precinct Committee organization. So here we go. We've already had the Indiana State Police called in to see if we could find out the mysterious identity of Jackie Sutton. And now we're calling on the Lake County Prosecutor's Office to find out if a janitor was pulled off of Democratic or off of county time for several hours to notarize something. I think it's getting pretty deep here, my friends. Who's going after Higgs? What's happening there? Let's talk to MX right here. MX, what's going on?
Well, this is the real McMafia going after Higgs, not like Chief Jeff Smith calling him stupid on the radio. You know what I mean? This is the real boys here. First of all, you talk about Bernie Carter prosecuting. He's got a spin wheel on the top of his desk, and he hits it. Prosecute, not prosecute. And the last 10 times, it's not prosecute, and it's given to the state police. Now, let's go to Higgs, because MX has to make a meme of this. You got to put some force into the meme, Jed. Higgs kidnapped an employee to do campaign work. She's got a little bit more spunk to it. So I'm going to try to help out the real McMafia. So it went.
What do you mean? What are you saying, McMafia? What do you mean? How are you making a reference to the McDermott? I mean, I don't know what you're saying. What are you saying?
No, not at all. Because I don't think. By the way, Mayor Tom's going to be at Freddy's Steakhouse tonight, and I've got extra Trump bumper stickers, and I might put one on his car when he's in there eating. But where am I at?
What's? I don't get the politics of this. I mean, and there is politics. I mean, even in like the Betty Dominguez complaint that she is now withdrawn, and then the Joe Hero and Robert Pastore going after Steve Kill. I mean, I don't get it.
I'm going to tell you what it is, Jed. The whole council is rubber stamp except for Higgs. Higgs is a rebel. You see what I'm saying? Now,
you're saying Bob Markovich is a rubber stamp for Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott?
Yes.
No, he's not.
What you wanted me to say?
No, it's Higgs. I think I haven't covered it. I haven't covered the Hammond City Council in over 10 years, so I guess I don't have any. But I mean, I think it's well known that Higgs and Markovich in Hammond kind of go their own ways sometimes, right?
Let's go to the good thing. Go to the good thing. I'm worried about your sunburn, and somebody said you got it at the local tanning salon because now you're making up poems. But we're going to hit this Higgs thing hard. You know, the old McMafia taped Higgs stealing ham signs. And Higgs says that Ham told him to go pick up the signs. Well, Higgs was picking up the signs. Somebody was videotaping it, and it's on YouTube. So
life is good. Hey, so you know what? You're in a weird way, even though you've got a warped sense of humor and you cross the line, you're doing what I'm telling people to do, which is just use Lake County politics as sport and entertainment and comedy.
Yes.
And if you do it that way, then it's all good. You know what I mean?
Yes. Mayor Tom says politics is a rough sport. He ought to try motocross and put a little something on his.
Okay. As soon as you start comparing real things in life to motocross, it's time to hang up. See you later. Bye. Let's take Omar on local 599 phone line. Hey, Omar, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Jed. Listen, about the Blackhawks, I don't follow hockey that much at all, really. I'm like on the bandwagon every time the Blackhawks play, but I didn't know they were doing so bad till I went to the Horseshoe like 3 weeks ago, and they had this game like they have from The Price is Right called Plunk It. You put a thing down and it hits the nails or whatnot, goes all the way down. And one of the prizes were 2 Blackhawk tickets or $20 in slot play. Guess what everybody else picked?
You're kidding.
No, I swear to God. I go like, what? And I said, well, let me check this out. So I'm looking at the guy's going, okay, what would you like, the $20 slot play or the 2 Blackhawk tickets? And everybody picked the slot play. And I'm going like, the Hawks are doing that bad? Honestly, I don't know if they're still doing it now, but they were doing it like 3 weeks ago. And I go like, oh, my God, they sunk that low.
You know, think about it 2 years ago or 3 years ago, giving away Blackhawks tickets or $20 of slot play. It wouldn't even be close. People would have been lining up to play that game just to get Hawks tickets way in the rafters.
Oh, Jed, I think they would have gone like, okay, we'll give you like $500 worth of slot play. Try to make it interesting. I mean, really, you know what I'm saying, competitive. But, yeah, but they went down to $20 slot play, and everybody paid the $20. I'm going, oh, no wonder the Blackhawks must be doing that bad. And I checked. I go, yeah, they're doing that bad. I'm like, God. Yeah, I thought I'd go ahead and let you know about that. I thought it was pretty hilarious myself. But I feel sorry for the Blackhawks, but they'll rebound. They always do.
Hey, did you see MX when you were out at the boat?
No, I did see him. It was wife's night out, so that's why I went.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's a lot of times if you just look around for the gruffiest looking character, former steelworker, region hammerhead looking guy, that's MX, and he's always talking to the waitresses who are trying to brush him off.
There you go.
Talk to you, Omar. We'll see you.
All right, buddy.
I'll be right back. AM 1230 WJOB. Hey, prostate cancer is no joke. I joke about Lake County politics and about the Blackhawks, and we'll write a prom. But getting your prostate checked and keeping it healthy, and if you have a problem, going to the right people, hey, that ain't no joke.
Rush Radiosurgery deploys revolutionary technology in the fight against prostate cancer in just 5 outpatient treatments. With radiosurgery treatment for prostate cancer, there is no pain, no surgery, and you can go back to your normal activities right after treatment. Prostate cancer does not fight fair, and neither should you. For more information, contact Rush Radiosurgery at 312-942-4600 or visit us at rushradiosurgery.com.
No case is typical. Results will vary by patient, and there's no guarantee other patients will experience these results.
I want to be like the pretty people on my TV.
Now you can.
All I need are gleaming white teeth.
We can help you.
Can you find the right dentist for me?
Dr. Randy Coulteritis, he does cosmetic dental.
Will he hurt me?
No, he's gentle.
I'm terrified of pain.
He's the kindest in the land.
He sounds great. Could you repeat his name?
Dr. Andy Coulteritis, 219-836-1111.
Thanks.
Giovanni's in Munster, Northwest Indiana's premier Italian cuisine. Come enjoy our expertly prepared veal, steak, seafood, and other Italian delicacies. Experience over 20 years of entertainment with our piano player Jack every Friday and Saturday evening in the lounge. And join our VIP or E-Rewards on your next stop in. Host your special event, shower, or celebration in our back room. Giovanni's is located at 603 Ridge Road in Munster. Call 836-6220 to make a reservation. Check out our menu at giosmunster.com.
Do you have a family history of heart disease or diabetes? St. Catherine Hospital Cardiovascular Prevention Center providers are offering free assessments to help determine your risk for heart disease and other related medical conditions. On Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 9 to 11:30 a.m., you can stop by the center at 7217 Indianapolis Boulevard in Hammond for assessments like an ABI leg circulation test, blood pressure, body mass index, random glucose assessment, and more. You must be 18 or older, and walk-ins are welcome. You have only one body. Let St. Catherine Hospital of Community Healthcare System help you take care of it. You can also call 219-392-7CVP to book an appointment today.
From the Strack & Van Til Studios, your local Strack & Van Til has some great products on sale this week. Here's a few items you might want to add to your shopping list. Green and red seedless grapes, $1.49 a pound. O'Brien's Premium Flat Cut Corned Beef Brisket, $2.88 a pound. Green cabbage, 25 cents a pound. Strack & Van Til, proud to be Indiana made and dedicated to being Indiana's grocery store.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's 7:26 in the Calumet region. I'm Jim Delo. Hey, the kids driving to school on their bikes going really fast down the boulevard, going over to Gavitt High School or Gavitt Middle School. Hey, 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan are moving along okay. You know, the Bishop Ford's actually tight from 103rd, maybe 111th up to 95th. But you've certainly seen it worse. It's as light as I've seen it in, I don't know, a couple of weeks. And Skyway, Toll Road, Borman, I-65, US 30, Klein Avenue are all moved along pretty well. And traffic is brought to you by our good friends at Napleton River Oaks Honda. What do you have in terms of the weather? This one brought to you by Laborers Local 41, a high of 40, chilly with clouds breaking. Right now it's 29 degrees at Local 697 of the Electricians Union, where a certified electrician is housed. And that is along Indianapolis Boulevard in Maryville. And it is also 28 degrees at Local 599. And going forward, Thursday and Friday, a high of 45, and then Saturday, a high of 39 and sunny and kind of nasty out. But by Sunday, plenty of sunshine. We are scheduled to do a number of Purdue Northwest baseball and softball games over the weekend. I'm guessing, just from knowing college baseball, having played it and followed my nephew around doing games, that they might move some of those games from Saturday to Sunday. So just, you know what, like the WJOB Facebook page, and you'll get notifications when we go live in video. And you'll be able to know when those baseball and softball games, 2,000 views yesterday. I was a little bit surprised at the numbers on that. You never know what's going to work. Both the men's baseball and women's softball are very competitive in their first season in Division II. And the level has gone up just a little bit. Little level of their competition. And both Nikki and Dave Griffin have kind of upped their teams. They were able to recruit and say, hey, you're going to come play Division II baseball or Division II softball. And I'll tell you what, I played Division III baseball for 2 years in Southern California. And we were basically the team that would go around and be the team that you could beat up on for some Division II and Division I teams. I played against USC, UCLA, San Diego State, Cal State Fullerton, and I also played against some top Division II teams, Azusa Pacific and other Cal State teams and a couple teams out of San Diego. And the difference between Division II and Division I baseball is very slight. As it's just not the same as basketball or football. You could tell the difference between a football game of Division II and Division I, and you can tell the difference between Division II and Division I basketball game. But if you didn't know the difference, if you didn't know if the teams just played on blank uniforms, a Division II and a Division I baseball game, you can't tell the difference, honestly. You get a lot of players that just want to be home. I saw that Larry Chrysler got a couple of hits for Purdue yesterday. Of course, he was the star basketball player at Bishop Nolan. He can pretty much play wherever he wants. He's playing right here at Purdue Northwest. And so if you're looking for that and you want to be a supporter, come out to Buffalo Wild Wings on Friday from 5 to 6. I will be hosting the coaches show. And that'll be from 5 to 6 right here at Kennedy and the Borman. All right, I don't know how I got off on that. I want to hit some stuff, some things that are happening in the world. And one of those is we have to get an update on what's happening in Austin, Texas. The situation is basically that they found the guy. Austin bomber blows himself up is basically what happened. The suspect in a series of bombings oh my gosh, the sun just came out. The gray sunrise has just come into the studio. And if you want to see it, go to Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. The suspect in a series of bombing attacks that terrorized Austin over the past few weeks blew himself up early Wednesday as law enforcement closed in on him. Authorities warned of concern that more explosives might still be out there. Authorities had zeroed in on the suspect in the last 24 to 36 hours and located his vehicle at a hotel in the suburb of Round Rock, Texas. Austin Police Chief Brian Manley said this at a news conference. They were waiting for ballistic ballistic vehicles to arrive to move in for an arrest. When his vehicle began to drive away, authorities followed the vehicle, which ran into a ditch on the side of the road. When members of the SWAT team approached, the suspect detonated an explosive device inside the vehicle. The blast knocked back one officer, while a second officer fired his weapon. Authorities identified the suspect only as a 24-year-old white man and wouldn't say if he was from Austin. So that's all we got. He's a 24-year-old white guy who is up throwing and killing people in Austin, Texas. And that's all we have. But it's good to know that, let's just be straight. It's good to know that he's dead. Hopefully he was working alone and he didn't have any more explosives sent in the mail. How does that sound? And in other news, across the state line is a big one. As I don't know if this is a surprise, but at least it's something to kind of not look forward to. And that is J.B. Pritzker and Bruce Rauner will square off. Two of the richest people in Illinois are going to both be heading it off for governor. Billionaire J.B. Pritzker claimed victory Tuesday night in the race for the Illinois Democratic governor nomination, setting a self-funding record as he built a campaign operation his underfunded rivals just could not overcome. I'm J.B. Pritzker, and I'm going to beat Bruce Rauner, he said last night. And Rauner, he beats Ives, the woman Ives, who was pretty, Jean Ives, who was pretty critical of Rauner in many of the television commercials that we've all watched. And part of the reason that I'm even reporting on it is that mostly we watch Chicago television, and we've just been inundated by Pritzker, Rauner, Ives. Did Quinn win for what is, do you ever look at, this happens a lot in Lake County. You look and you're like, isn't that person just going to go away at some point? I mean, and you don't want to say, well, what's it? He did not win. And I got a feeling, and that's not knowing anything about Illinois politics. I was like looking at it and saying, I'll bet people in Illinois just don't vote for him, and he doesn't win. And part of it is you just get tired of seeing the same faces. That's in Illinois. They'll rotate once in a while. Here in Indiana, we don't, and we just keep, kind of rotate. People shift around to different offices. The Times did a really good article about that, and you get the same people in the same offices. We're okay with that, and we like it because we continue to do it. And in Illinois, for some reason, they just seem a little bit more shifty, a little bit more ADHD when it comes to their politics. They don't tend to do that. We'll see if who can outspend whom in this upcoming election. $300 million is what they're saying could be spent on this upcoming election. That would eclipse the 2012 or 2014 governor's race in California that they spent $280 million on. And so it could be the most expensive governor's race in the history of America. And that is right across the state line here in Illinois. What else is going on? In terms of Betty Dominguez, she is running for sheriff. And she had placed a complaint with the elections board that involved both the Times and WJOB. The Times didn't make a mistake. We made a mistake here and put a little FOR in on one of the graphics on Facebook Live when we did the sheriff's show. And Betty Dominguez brought that to the attention of the elections board. And she also had other complaints about Oscar Martinez, and she has withdrawn those complaints. And in all of the ones, even the ones that involve the Times and WJOB. I'll read what how Bill Dolan carried it in the Times. And a Democratic candidate for sheriff is withdrawing her complaint against Oscar Martinez Jr. since he has removed re-elect from his campaign literature. Evidently, Betty Dominguez did not want him to have re-elect in his literature. Martin's campaign responded by rewording his campaign slogan on an electronic billboard in Maryville to state, "Retain Martinez, Democrat, sheriff." And Biddy Dominguez also said she is also withdrawing her other complaint that Martinez improperly promoted his election with taxpayer money, both in the Times and on WJOB. Martinez responded earlier he never intended his campaign logo to appear on a video of a WJOB radio interview. And that is true. We put the wrong logo up there, and it said Oscar Martinez and Sheriff. And that's usually what it's supposed to say on that show. But in the middle of it, there's this little bitty word "for." And so we made that mistake. And we do apologize on that. But only so far, to be honest with you, because I'm not sure that that was a violation in the fact that it was on Facebook, which is not regulated. So I give a kind of a half-hearted apology. And then I would just like to remind all local elected officials that one of the things that has made WJOB a mainstay since 1923 or 1924 is that for the most part, people just kind of they'll look at us and they'll try to keep us out of their mushrooms, okay? And the same thing with the Times. Times has had, you get you're the media and you're like, all right, well, we try to be as fair as we can. And sometimes we do things that aren't entirely fair, I guess, or that aren't entirely accurate. And we should be held accountable and it should be brought to our attention, and we should have to deal with that. And then there's a fine line to when you feel like you're being brought into somebody. And I appreciate the many politicians who just keep us out of your you know what I mean? And just let us talk freely and let people call in and have a free flow of information. It's worked for almost 100 years now. And so, but it's always nice to, just get noticed and to have my name in the paper here. And it says, Martinez responded earlier he never intended his campaign logo to appear on a WJOB radio interview between WJOB owner Jim Diedlow and the sheriff's chief of staff, Emiliano Perez. Diedlow said the graphics appearance was an error on the station's part. So thank you so much for pointing that out. And I'll just leave it at that. And I should probably play a spot right now before I go off on a rant about people that try to bring us into their stuff, because I just want to do my radio show here. And then at 8 o'clock, I want to drive down to this corner place, and I want to sit there and I want to read the sports section. And I really don't give a rat's ass about what your guys' political shenanigans are that are going on. It really bugs the hell out of me that I have to cover it in general because we're embarrassing. And I guess it just reminds me of something. My buddy Billy Baker asked me, he said, how long are you going to do that show? I said, well, I'm going to do it till it's not any fun or until I become bitter like you, Baker, about Lake County politics. And I'm not. I think in the beginning when Baker and I got together and did the radio and did the newspaper, I was a little bit more like him and like, man, we got to change things around here. And I'm like, and I did some things that really got people angry because I did. And I guess in a couple of instances maybe had an agenda that I wanted to change things. And then one day I'm just like, what am I doing? I've been taught. I had a long talk with Greg Kaplan yesterday about Julian Colby and Judy Grambo. He knew them well. And Larry Peterson and Irv Lewin. I worked here in the mid-'80s, and I was taught by the best ever in the business here at WJOB, and that was Larry Peterson. And that is, A, don't ever get upset about Lake County politics, and B, just use it as entertainment. I mean, we do have a job as newsmen and people to discuss things, but it's entertainment. Don't forget that. And I did forget it for a while, and ever since I came back to the entertainment aspect of it, everything's fine. But so Baker, I still have fun doing this show. I've been doing it over 10 years now, and And I'm still haven't turned into Baker or any of these other guys that get all upset about Lake County politics, because I just don't. So before I go on a rant about don't bring me into your game, I think I'm going to hear a spot from Carpenter's Local 399. And they have a lot of good people that do good things in the community. And let's hear about it.
Carpenter's Local 599 joins with other Carpenter locals to build the local economy and has been doing so for over 117 years. We are proud to be a member of the Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio Regional Council of Carpenters, which is threefold: training, professionalism, and partnership. We also offer some of the best benefits in the industry. To find out how to become a member of Carpenter's Local 599, contact us at 219-942-0518 or log on to ikorcc.com.
Hi, I'm Jessica Wargo, athletic trainer for Community Healthcare System. Athletic training is part of Community Healthcare System's sports medicine program. Our fellowship-trained, board-certified experts are ready to treat the athlete in you, whether it's pain or injury from activity on the court, in the field, or in your everyday life. We offer services and locations throughout Northwest Indiana. Visit our website to learn more at comhs.org/sports. Theo's Steak and Seafood sets the standard of fine dining excellence. Delicious USDA prime meats and steaks, along with the freshest seafood in the area. Celebrate your special event with friends, family, and associates in our private dining room that can seat up to 125 people. For information, call 838-8000 or theoshighland.com. Also visit our other restaurants, Prime Steakhouse, Umi Sushi and Lounge in Crown Point, and Ted's Family Restaurant in Calumet City.
Hey, what's going on? 742 in the Calumet region. And there's some entry music for traffic and weather. As 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford up the gut of the Southland, 111th to say 95th. Is a little bit tight. As a matter of fact, it's bad on the Dan Ryan as you approach the city. So whether you go Dan Ryan or you go Skyway, either way you're going to get spankety wank, crank shanked as you get to 47th going in, and maybe 55th on in. So all of a sudden it got a lot worse, both on the Bishop Ford merge and as you approach Jane Byrne. What would Jane Byrne say about Pritzker and Rauner going at it? You know what I mean? All right. 3 Hispanics, 3 blacks, and a white guy walk into a bar. What is it? Lake County Sheriff's race. All right. J.B. Pritzker and Bruce Rauner walk into a bar, and Jane Byrne's sitting there. What does she say to him? I don't know. Send me the punchline on a text to 219-845-1100. Because you can also get plenty of entertainment from Illinois politics, and we're going to get inundated. Ryan, I don't think Bruce Rauner would come on here, but J.B. Pritzker might. See if you can get that guy in here. 2.5 million people can hear WJOB on the Illinois side, and we would be on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. I got to believe he might think about it. What do you think, Andrew?
I'm sure he would.
That's your job.
Get on Illinois politics. See,
no, your job is to get J.B. Pritzker to come down here one morning.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
You go to DePaul. You live in Chicago, right?
I do, and I've had to pay attention to a ton of Illinois politics, and seen everything around there. I've been bombarded with, the governor's race. Of course, the other one that made news yesterday for me, especially because I did a thing on it. My TV News 1 class was Arthur Jones won the Republican primary for the 3rd congressional district in Illinois, and the reason that's significant, I think, is because he's been trying to run for like the last 20, however many years it was, and win, and he's a former member of a neo-Nazi party. And he now has won the nomination on the Republican side for the 3rd Congressional District seat in Illinois.
You know what, Ryan? Typically, all of the sports guys that come through here have no idea what's going on outside of the upcoming NFL draft. You know what I mean? And they don't have anything, they don't know anything outside of the 6th and 7th man from the 9th seed out of the West Regional. And that is the first time a sports guy came in while still in college and had actual knowledge of the real world.
I think Sam,
and that includes you.
Well, I wasn't ever here while I was in college. I was a postgraduate
You didn't know any elected officials. Come on, when you came in, you didn't know any. You didn't even know who our governor was.
Stop. You realize that I was at Bloomington, and the governor of Indiana spends a lot of time in West Lafayette and Bloomington. I knew who the governor is. I know my elected officials in the town of Griffith, and the sheriff. How can you not know who our sheriff is? For all the years, there was those signs at gas pumps. I don't know if they still do that or not, but about stealing gas, and it always had it's a federal offense, and it had Sheriff Dominguez's photo on them at Marathon, Family Express, Luke Oil, all the gas stations had those. So I mean, if you didn't know you must never have pumped gas to not know who our sheriff is in the county.
Andrew, you don't have to answer this, but how do you feel about a neo-Nazi getting elected in the Republican Party in Illinois?
That's not good. It doesn't look good for them, especially the fact that he ran unopposed. The reason he won was because he ran unopposed, and they could have put anybody up against him and probably beat him, and they just kind of just let it happen. So, it doesn't look good. I mean, they denounced him. A lot of them formally denounced him, but as we've seen, it doesn't matter if you say this is not good unless you actually are willing to do something about it. It really doesn't matter, and they just kind of just let it happen if he ran unopposed.
I'm going to ask you another question that you can answer or not answer, but everything's on the table here. And, I think, I've already worked with Ryan for many years. He pretty much got it after a year. Sam's kind of coming around to it, I think. There's a way to handle difficult questions. Do you think with a name like Garcia that you have or ever will be prejudiced against as you work through the sports broadcasting world?
No, because yes or no. I don't know, because initially just taking one look at me, you wouldn't think, last name Garcia. I don't think, a lot of people look at me and think that that's probably what my last name is, but I mean, it's possible, but at the same time, I don't entirely think so, because I mean, from what I've seen and what I see across, not just in sports broadcasting, and I see when I watch sometimes on other channels and other networks, is, they try to have more diverse crowds, and they try to, so as a name like Garcia pops up, they'll probably, be like, hey, this is good for, us to look diverse, I would say.
There you go. How do you do on that answer of that question, Ryan?
I think you did very well.
I think you did okay. You got to have to address difficult things in, like, if you, over the summer or whatever, if you're ever caught hosting here and you have a difficult topic, typically in sports, you don't have to go that wide and have to take in, well, I got to formulate some sort of a response or even an opinion. But that's part of broadcasting. You know what else is part of broadcasting? Doing sports updates. And at 11 o'clock today, if you want to see my sports broadcasting class do live updates, they're going to do their quiz at 11:05, 11:10. Maybe we'll start it. And they're going to be doing sports updates. They're each going to do 2 of them. And then I will grade one of them, the one that they choose me to grade, their first or their second one. And you'll be able to watch that live education. Just another way to use Facebook Live video is they do the sports updates, and then they're able to go back and watch them later to see what they did well on and didn't do well on. And then next Wednesday, they'll actually do the test. So today's the quiz, and we'll review them on Monday. And then we'll do the test next Wednesday.
Yeah, and his sports update here is by Johnny's Tap, and they've been nominated for a couple different categories by the Times for Best of for the area, Best Place to Have Lunch, and Best Place for Wings.
There it is. Andrew, what's going on in the world?
All right, let's get to it. In Purdue Northwest baseball, yesterday they beat Lewis 4-1, and Jordan Petty picked up the win for the Pride. He pitched 2 2/3 innings, gave up 2 hits, didn't strike out any batters, but also did not walk a single batter. Kevin McCune and Larry Chrysler had 2 hits for the Pride. Chrysler did score a run for PNW. They're going to start a 4-game series versus Grand Valley State on Friday at 2 p.m., and then today we have a doubleheader on Facebook for the women's softball team against Saginaw Valley State. The first one's at 3:30. The second one is at 5:30.
I'll be on the call at 3:30 of softball. I haven't done a softball game in 10 years.
And then in the NBA tonight, the Bulls are going to play the Denver Nuggets. They're 24-46 on the season. The Pacers are going to play in New Orleans tonight. The Pacers, again, are just a half game behind Cleveland for the 3 seed in the Eastern Conference. In the NHL, the Blackhawks lost last night to Colorado. and are officially eliminated from playoff contention, the first time in over a decade that they will not be participating in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Brent Seabrook, the only goal for the Blackhawks yesterday, and they're going to play against Vancouver on Thursday. Then MLB spring training, the Cubs were off yesterday. They're going to play Texas today, and the Texas Rangers are coming off a spanking from the White Sox yesterday. They lost 10-0 to them. And then the WJOB weekend sports schedule, as always, the PNW will play Grand Valley State at 2 p.m. on Friday, and then later that night we're going to have Purdue versus Texas Tech on the radio. That is the Sweet 16 game in the East region. That's going to be from Boston. You think that's probably that definitely at the Garden. And then all IHSAA boys basketball state finals games will be on the air starting at 9:30 a.m. on Saturday, and then Sunday. I believe you said we had some more baseball games for PNW.
Yep, a couple on Sunday, Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, we're going to be on baseball and softball will be on Facebook Live video, and that is the Purdue Northwest games all weekend long. We're going to be out there, and we're the official broadcast outlet, but only on Facebook. And then, I guess if it works out once in a while, we'll put some of those games on the radio too. But it's really Saturday. We've reserved that. We were hoping to have a local team in the state finals. We don't have one, but we're still going to run it because there's so much tradition involved with Indiana high school basketball. Community Healthcare BP and NIPSCO are the presenting sponsor for the state finals. It's really kind of cool to listen to, even if you don't know any of the teams, and the announcers are kind of knowing that people are coming in and out, and they'll dumb it down a little bit sometimes, even to remind you what guy is on what team, and then they'll say where they're from, and so it's a good listen. And a lot of the times I will clean out my garage on the Saturday of Indiana high school state basketball, but usually it's a little bit warmer than it's going to be on Saturday.
And I want to say good luck to Coach Pagatti and his South Suburban College Bulldogs. They play at 11 o'clock today against Delta from Michigan. It's you can watch that on njcaa.org. You can click on Men's Division II Basketball for NJCAA, and you can watch the games live from down in Danville. And I know you listen to my NCAA Insider Show on Monday nights, Jim. One of John's best friends is from Michigan, Casey, that calls in from Las Vegas. Totally random, but that's where he went to college at before joining the Air Force. Casey went to Delta College for a little bit of time, and that's who Coach Pagatti. Casey said he was eating, and he came across the list for the drawings and almost choked to death. Not even joking, said he almost choked to death that he saw. And then
South Suburban playing Delta. So that's at 11 o'clock. Where's that from? Danville?
Danville, the center for games. It's going to be there. If they win today, they play in the evening. If they lose today, they got to play in the morning session in the losers bracket for the rest of the week. And their championship game would be at 7:30 on Saturday night. They can win 3 today, tomorrow, and Friday. He's
Ryan Walsh. I'm Jim Delo. It's also Andrew Garcia. Andrew Garcia will be serving lunch at Teeble's Restaurant starting at 11:30. You can also go in there for dinner, and you can request to have Andrew Garcia wait on your table.
What would you get if you're going in there at 11:30 to
coffee shop? Coffee shop, by the way.
Oh, your coffee shop for lunch?
Coffee shop today, yeah.
And all day?
Mm-hmm.
Even in the evening? Oh, okay. You won't be in the main restaurant?
Not till Friday, I think.
All right, so you'll be in the coffee shop, which is right on 41. You can just park there and run in and eat. You don't have to go all the way around and come in on the other side. And what would I get? I love their perch. I think that's what they're known for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't eat a lot of gluten right now, so I kind of have to shave some of the breading off. But I would have. Can they cook it without a breading?
They can broil it and saute it as well.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I might get that broiled. But I'll tell you what, man, fried lake perch at Teeble's is about as good as it gets. Would you say? What's the bigger seller, chicken or perch?
This time of year, it's definitely the perch, but people like the chicken because it's all you can eat, and they can just sit there and just keep it coming. And then Fridays, though, is all you can eat during Lent right now. So
for perch?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All you can eat lake perch. Do you know how much that is? Like 29 or 30 or something?
I think it's a little more than that because it's all you can.
Yeah, it's all you can eat. Have you ever seen some people eat just extraordinary amounts of chicken or perch?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, yes.
Does it surprise you once in a while it's not somebody that's that large?
No, I mean, it's just like, people come in at any time of day and you're hungry, it's whatever, and sometimes, particularly when I have people who order a lot of extra chicken, it's usually because they've ordered dark meat, so that's that's your thigh and that's your leg, so it's a smaller piece than the breast, but it could be either or, so just kind of depends.
I'm not a big fan of all you can eat because I'm a pig. And I don't have any discipline.
Go to the buffet.
I used to love to go to Old Country over here on 41 at Main Street. And my wife was in school forever, and then she was taking a bar, and then she was building her practice. So I had my little daughters a lot, and I'd take them to Old Country Buffet. And she's so mad. She goes, "Why taking them to that? They don't learn portions and But I loved going there because, all right, I just ate one meal.
And that was back in the day before the sneeze guard came about.
Yeah, they didn't have it. You just go up there and grab it and throw it on your plate. All right, guys, thanks a lot. AM 1230 WJOB in Hammond. And we have Munster Chamber of Commerce out there. Is that who that is?
Hosted by Karen Marvia.
Karen Marvia is going to host that show, huh? So I'm going to get out of here in a little bit. I just want to remind everybody on a couple things. Don't forget, on Friday, I'll be out at the Buffalo Wild Wings here at Kennedy and the Borman. That'll be 5 to 6. It's a nice way to start the evening. Also on Friday evening, it really is kind of cool. Community Healthcare BP and NIPSCO will be sponsoring the pregame show for Purdue, and they'll be able to hear them in the Sweet 16 against Texas Tech. And that'll start around 7:30, maybe quarter to 8. They do a lot of interviews and a lot of analysis of the games. And you'll be able to listen to that before you go in and probably watch the game. It doesn't line up. The radio is about 5 or 6 seconds ahead. There is a machine we can buy to slow down the broadcast so that it matches up with the television. Did you know that? That some radio stations will do that? We don't own that because on Sunday, I went up into the bedroom and I was listening to the game because I like to listen to the hometown call of Larry Clisby. And I would go, yes, from the bedroom. And then 6 seconds later, that would show up on the television with my wife watching it downstairs. Or I would be, I'd let go an F-bomb, okay, from the bedroom. And she would hear it down there. And then finally she just stops up the stairs. She's like, can you quit doing that? I know if the shot's going in or not now because of your reaction. So it's not lined up. You can't listen to the call mixed up onto the national feed. The TV is way behind it. But I'm going to get that next year. I'm going to get that so you can line it up and listen to Clisby and then watch the game on television. But anyways, that'll be on Friday night. So Friday's a good day if you want to go to Purdue Northwest and get started. Maybe go over to Johnny's Tap and have something, a snack or something. And then if you're out and about or whatever, you can listen to Cliz, or even in your garage, you can listen to Cliz announce the game on Friday night. It's a huge game. I want to thank Community BP and NIPSCO for stepping up to sponsor that. Also, I guess in terms of what you can do also on Saturday is that it's supposed to be pretty nasty out. I don't know if we're going to be able to get the Purdue Northwest softball and baseball games in. Don't forget, you can take the kids out to Griffith High School, and from noon until 3, you can pay $5, and you can take in, let them run around the main field house. They're going to have a bouncy house. They're going to have some games. There's going to be silent auctions. It's all to raise money for NIC, which is Kids with Cancer, basically. And that'll be Saturday from noon till 3 in Griffith High School. I interviewed the people from that about an hour and 15 minutes ago. As soon as this ends, you'll be able to watch that on Facebook Live. All right, Karen Marvia is the next voice you'll hear. She will have the Munster Chamber of Commerce. I'm out. She's in. See you later. Bye.
For a fast and friendly car wash, go to Easy Clean Car Wash. Easy